All right. So cutting your valves to your valve head, to your cylinder head, is extremely important. Now, if you can see here, there are a bunch of angles on this. There's a 80 down the bottom, then a 60, then a 45, and a 30. Okay? And this has the big seat installed, 40 millimeter. This is a Gx390 head that I'm running on my Life in 420 that's stroked out to a 460. So, what you need to do is when you have these valves, on the back of the valve, it usually just comes with that median strip, the flat, and then a 45. So optimum intake valve will have the median, well, on the bottom, an undercut will be 25 degrees. And then you'll have, say, 50 thousandths of median. Then you'll have, say, 40 to 50 thousandths of 45 degree. And then you'll have a 35 degree cut on the top. This valve's already been cut. You can see the multiple angles on the valve itself. Okay? This matches up with this intake valve. This is a beautiful flowing head. Alright, now this is the exhaust valve here. Okay? Stainless steel valves. Now, when you're in, say, if you're running, say, a high lift cam, and you need to flow the most amount of air you can, you have what's called the curtain around the valve. So the bigger the valve, the bigger the curtain you're going to have. The bigger the valve you have, the more lift you're going to need. So what the curtain is say if this is a 40 millimeter valve, all right, so the curtain is a quarter of your overall width of the valve. So if this is a 40 millimeter valve, that means I have a 10 millimeter curtain. The curtain is the area of least flow that you're trying to improve the flow on with all the valve angles. So that means 10 millimeter is probably 400 lift. Close to it, I think. So until this thing hits 400 lift, which is probably about that high, it's in the worst flow it can have. It doesn't really get into its best flow until it gets out of that curtain. So if you install a big valve, you're going to need to be doing at least 500 lift to flow the much air. You'd be better off staying with a 36 millimeter valve and flowing more air because you'd have less curtain if you have a low lift cam, say under 400 lift. With a 35 or a 36 intake valve, a quarter of 36 is, I don't know, 12, 24, no, it's even less than that. Oh, it's probably like 8 or 9. So you'd have 9 millimeters, which is 9 times 4 is 360. So a 360 lift you need bigger than a 360 lift if you have a 36 millimeter valve to flow maximum amounts of flow. You need to get out of that curtain area. So basically, the curtain is when your valve lifts up, 1/4 of the diameter of the valve in lift is the curtain. So this area around this valve is the curtain, and it's the least flowing area up to 1/4 of the length of the valve. So 1/4 of the width of the valve. So if this is a 40 millimeter, 10 millimeters is the curtain. So a 400 lift cam is going to be keeping you in that curtain, so you're never going to get maximum valve flow out of that. If you can break 400 millimeters in your valve lift, then you're going to get out of that curtain and you're going to start making power, stop being able to flow those numbers. So if you can get like a 500 or a 600 lift out of a 40 millimeter valve, you're going to be flowing insane amounts of air. On top of that, when it's in that curtain, that early opening portion of the camshaft and the very peak of the camshaft, of the lobe of the camshaft, if it's like a egg, half of an egg, the very bottom and the very top are the least areas of flow. From the very start to the middle, almost to the top, that's when you're flowing all your air, is in this like middle portion of that belt. That's when you're flowing all your air. So you need to get the cam lift insanely high to flow enough so you're out of the curtain. And I'm telling you, just by doing that, you're gonna really beef your motor up. Significantly feel that. Until you do that, you're just kind of playing. Until you kind of really get it out of that curtain area. And most motors are set up so it stays in that curtain area. And unshrouding everything is the name of the game. This head has been seated. I have other heads that I've done more work on. This has basically just been milled and some seats put in. This is a pretty early stage head. It's still kind of in the progression of the head. But one thing, no matter what stage of the head you're in, cutting those multi-valve angles is a must. Intake and exhaust, and especially the undercut on the chamber side. When you cut that side, the chamber, that 25-degree cut on the chamber side, that's big for flow. So yeah, that's how you get your heads to flow. I'll show you, I have this valve cutter. I'm gonna put another angle. You can see this nice shiny spot here. That's where I just did it. My video wasn't recording. I'm gonna put a second angle on this valve with this tool I have. Now this is a very cool tool I picked up. Very awesome for the home do-it-yourself kind of guy. So we are gonna throw another angle on this for you YouTubers out there, just so you can see how this is done. Alright, it takes a second to set it up, but once you're there, you're kind of good. So we're about there now. So I'll just lock this in. Alright. Now, this has a crank handle that came with it, so it will basically spin the valve against this cutter head here. It's pretty cool, man. Check this thing out. So this tightens it down, keeps it pressed down this way against this valve cutter. This here holds it in straight, and this goes on the end and it turns it. I mounted it to a block of wood. But what I found works better is doing it with a drill. So it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen on live TV. Try this again. I don't like the way that cut. good. So this valve is going to be scorching hot now. But, ow, very hot. As you can see, ow, very hot. You got the angles there now. So that's good. So that's what you want. More angles, better flow. That's how it's done. Multi-angle valve job on the GX390 or any of the 420 heads. Like and subscribe. More videos to come.